Okay, let's really get into this. We've got some fantastic material you sent in all about what really makes confidence tick.
Yeah.
And we're not just going to, talk about thinking positive. We want to dig into the actual psychology, the neuroscience behind it all.
Exactly. Moving beyond the surface level, we're looking at the mechanics of how our minds and bodies actually create that feeling of genuine self-belief.
Right. So one of the first things that kind of jumped out was this definition of true confidence. It's not about being loud or having a big ego, is it?
No, not at all. The sources define it more as a realistic trust in your own abilities,
Okay.
and importantly, in your ability to bounce back, your resilience, and just your basic inherent worth.
That word realistic feels key there.
It really is. It separates real confidence from just, puffing yourself up or wishful thinking. It's belief based on, well, a reasonably clear view of yourself.
And the material also makes this distinction, which I found helpful, between self-confidence, that kind of overall, I got this feeling, and something called self-efficacy. What's the deal there?
Yeah, that's a useful one. Think of self-efficacy as your confidence in tackling specific things, specific tasks. So you might have decent general self-confidence, feel generally capable, right? But your self-efficacy for, say, giving a big presentation might be lower.
Oh, totally. I know people exactly like that. Seem fine day to day, but public speaking, they freeze up.
Right. And you can get the opposite, too. Someone could be incredibly skilled, super confident in one area, like a master artist in their studio, high self-efficacy there.
Right.
But maybe they struggle with broader self-belief outside of that specific skill.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, something really crucial here is that confidence it's not fixed, right? It's not like you're born with a set amount.
Absolutely not. The sources really stress this. It's not some static personality trait you're stuck with.
Yeah.
It's much more adaptable, responsive to what happens to us.
There was a study mentioned from 2018 that linked confidence to stuff like emotional stability, being more extroverted.
Yeah.
But what really stood out was how much our experiences matter. The support we get, the things we actually succeed at.
Exactly. If you put those together, it shows confidence is this interplay, really, between our internal tendencies and what we encounter externally.
So it's not just nature or nurture.
It's how they constantly shape each other.
Which is actually really hopeful, isn't it? It means it's not set in stone. We can actually influence it, build it up.
Precisely. That dynamic nature means it's something you can actively work on, strengthen over time.
Okay, good. So our mission here in this deep dive is to unpack that science and pull out some real actionable strategies, ways you can actually build what one source called your confidence muscle.
Love that phrase.
Yeah. So where do we start with the science?
Well, the material kicks off with the psychology of confidence, kind of laying the groundwork for how our minds build this self-belief.
Okay. And the name Albert Bandura pops up. He's a big deal in psychology, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Bandura's huge. Known for his work on social learning theory, how we learn by watching others and through experience. And super relevant for us, he introduced this concept of self-efficacy.
Right, the task-specific confidence we mentioned?
Exactly. And he saw it as a major driver of our motivation, our behavior.
Okay. And he pinpointed 4 key sources, 4 things that kind of fuel this self-efficacy. What are they?
Yeah, these 4 are really insightful for understanding how we develop that sense of, I can do this. The first one is what he called mastery experiences.
Mastery experience. Okay, let's break that down.
It's basically achieving things, even small things. When you successfully do something, your brain kind of logs it, puts down a little mental marker, like, okay, I managed that.
Like leveling up in a video game.
Exactly like that. Each little success, each level up adds to this growing sense of capability in that area. It's cumulative.
So it's not always about massive victories. It's the buildup of those smaller wins that creates this solid belief.
Precisely. Your brain starts seeing a pattern over time. Hey, I've handled this before. I can probably handle it again. I'm actually competent at this.
Yeah.
It's building an evidence track record.
Okay, evidence through doing. Got it. What's number 2?
Number 2 is vicarious learning, or sometimes called social modeling.
Vicarious. So learning through others.
Exactly. Watching other people succeed, especially people you see as kind of like you. The thought process is, well, if they managed it, maybe I can too.
Yeah. Seeing someone else achieve a goal you share makes it feel less abstract, more possible.
Totally. Role models are huge here. When you see someone you identify with actually do the thing, it makes it feel more real, more attainable for you. It's like, okay, a real person did this. It's not just some impossible dream.
Right. Makes it concrete. Okay, so doing it ourselves, seeing others do it. What's the third source?
Third is social persuasion. This is all about the power of genuine encouragement from other people.
Ah, the classic pep talk, someone you respect saying, hey, I believe in you, you can do this.
Exactly. And that can be incredibly powerful, especially when you're doubting yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
But, and this is important, the material stresses, it has to be genuine. Empty, generic praise doesn't really land.
Right. A simple, you're awesome, might not do much.
Probably not. Effective persuasion is usually more specific. It points out effort you've made, skills you've shown, actual things you've done. That kind of sincere, targeted feedback, that really boosts belief.
Okay. Genuine, specific encouragement makes sense.
Whoa.
So we've got mastery, watching others, and social persuasion. What's the fourth piece?
The fourth is our emotional and physiological states. Basically how you're feeling in your body and emotionally.
That's interesting. I don't always think about the direct link between, like, feeling tired and feeling less confident.
But it's a really strong connection. If you're feeling super anxious or overwhelmed or just physically drained, it's way harder to tap into confidence.
Yeah, true.
But when you feel calm, energized, kind of positive, your body and mind are more aligned for a confident state. Our physical and mental states are deeply interconnected when it comes to self-belief.
Definitely feel that. Okay, so those are the big psychological pillars. But then the material shifts gears into the neuroscience, like what's actually happening in the brain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this shows confidence isn't just some vague feeling, it's wired in. It has physical roots in our brain structures or chemistry.
Okay.
They talk about the prefrontal cortex first.
Right, the front part of the brain, the CEO, planning, decision-making.
That's the one. And a 2016 study they mentioned in Nature Communications showed how it's constantly taking in info past experiences, what's happening right now, and making these real-time predictions, like what are the odds of success here?
So that feeling of confidence, it's like the prefrontal cortex running the numbers and giving the thumbs up.
Kind of like a neurological green light based on its analysis. Data suggests you've got a decent shot at this.
Cool.
And then, of course, there's dopamine.
Dopamine. The reward chemical, right. Makes things feel good.
Yeah, the brain's happy juice, in a way. The material explains that when we succeed, or even just anticipate succeeding, our brain releases dopamine. That feels good, obviously. But it also reinforces the behaviors that led to the success. Makes us want to do them again. And crucially, that reinforcement strengthens the neural pathways for that action. That's dopamine building confidence.
So it's not just feeling good, it's actually wiring our brain to associate that action with a positive outcome.
Precisely. And there's a 2020 study suggesting people with naturally higher baseline dopamine levels in certain areas tend to report feeling more confident. Might be a slight biological nudge for some.
Interesting.
But the big takeaway is those moments of success, big or small, trigger dopamine. And that actively helps build confidence over time.
So even setting and hitting really small goals could tap into that.
Absolutely. Those little dopamine hits from achieving small, manageable things, they add up. They incrementally build that overall sense of, I can do things.
Okay, so prefrontal cortex gives the go-ahead, dopamine rewards success. What about the brakes? What holds us back in the brain?
For that, we need to look at the amygdala, often called the brain's fear center.
The amygdala, right. Processes fear, anxiety.
Yeah. And the material points out that if your amygdala is, let's say, overactive or overly sensitive, it can really put a damper on confidence because it's hyper alert to uncertainty, to the potential threat of failure.
Always scanning for what could go wrong.
Exactly. And when it flags a potential threat, it can kick off that stress response, heart racing, palms sweating, which directly undermines feeling confident in that moment. It's hard to feel bold when your body's screaming danger.
Makes total sense. Feeling physiologically stressed just kills confidence.
But, and this is the amazing part, the brain can change. That whole concept of neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity. The brain's ability to rewire itself.
Exactly. So even if you have a naturally more reactive amygdala, you're not doomed. Over time, with practice and positive experiences, you can actually train it to, well, to chill out a bit.
How?
Like learning a new skill. As you practice and get better, you're strengthening the neural pathways for that skill. That increases confidence, which boosts confidence, and can gradually make the amygdala less reactive in that context.
So our actions and experiences can literally reshape these brain regions.
Precisely. Repeated exposure and success can dial down the fear response and dial up the confidence, even in those deeper brain structures.
Fascinating. And then the sources add another layer. Hormones.
They do. They bring in testosterone, which is pretty well linked to things like assertiveness, that kind of go-for-it attitude.
Yeah, taking charge, being proactive.
And what's really interesting is this potential feedback loop. Acting confidently, adopting assertive body language, might actually give your testosterone levels a little boost.
Seriously?
Yeah, even just standing up straighter, adopting a more expansive posture has been linked to feeling more powerful and potentially has hormonal ripples.
Wow. So behavior influences biology, influences behavior. And what about cortisol, the stress hormone?
Well, cortisol generally does the opposite. Tends to undermine confidence, makes us feel more anxious, more withdrawn.
Yeah, feeling stressed definitely doesn't make you feel confident.
And a 2019 study found that having a good balance, like a healthy ratio of testosterone to cortisol, was linked to higher self-reported confidence.
So it all connects.
It really does. It paints this picture of confidence as this complex dance between brain circuits, neurotransmitters like dopamine, and hormones like testosterone and cortisol. It's a real biological thing.
It's so much more than just a mindset. Okay, but if we all have this basic biological machinery, why do some people still struggle so much more with confidence than others? The sources talk about a confidence gap.
Exactly. Despite the potential, this gap exists. And the material explores several reasons why.
What are some of the big ones driving that gap?
Childhood experiences come up as hugely significant. The kind of feedback we got early on really shapes our foundational sense of self-belief.
Oh man, those early years are so formative, aren't they?
Absolutely. And the sources make a crucial distinction about how praise is given. Praising effort, wow, you really worked hard on that, versus praising innate talent. You're just so smart.
Right. Praising effort teaches you that abilities can grow, right?
Yeah.
That growth mindset idea.
Exactly. You learn the dedication pays off.
Yeah.
But if you're constantly criticized or there's just a lack of positive reinforcement, that can create really deep-seated self-doubt.
And what about only praising talent?
That can backfire too. It can create this fear of failure. Because if you make a mistake, does that mean you're not actually talented anymore?
Yeah. Sets up this intense pressure to be perfect, which is impossible and stifles trying new things.
Exactly. And beyond childhood, the sources look at broader societal factors too.
Like what kind of things?
Things like gender norms, cultural expectations. There was a 2014 study mentioned showing women often underestimate their abilities compared to men. And it's not necessarily about actual capability differences, but more about societal biases, expectations, maybe stereotype threat. How these external things impact internal confidence.
That's so important. Confidence isn't just brewed inside our own heads.
Absolutely not. And culture plays a role too. Some cultures really value humility, maybe discourage overt displays of confidence. Standing out isn't always encouraged, so the world around you definitely shapes it.
Okay, so early life society. What else contributes to the gap?
Perfectionism gets a big mention. That drive to be absolutely flawless.
Yeah, I can see how that would hurt confidence.
It really can. It creates this intense fear of making any mistake, which can just paralyze you. You end up not trying things. A 2021 study linked perfectionism directly to lower self-confidence.
Because you always feel like you're falling short.
Exactly. If the bar is impossibly high, you never feel good enough, which just eats away at your self-belief.
That makes sense. And then there's imposter syndrome.
Ah, yes. That feeling like you're a fraud. That you're going to be found out even when you have loads of evidence of your success.
It's weirdly common, isn't it? Even among really successful people.
It's surprisingly prevalent. It was first really described back in 1978.
Yeah.
It affects so many people who just can't seem to internalize their accomplishments. Really shows the power of our inner stories.
Yeah, that inner narrative overriding the external facts.
Exactly. Highlights how much our internal beliefs shape our sense of competence, sometimes regardless of reality.
Okay, wow. So we've got the psychology, the brain science, the hormones, and why some people struggle. Now for the good stuff. The toolkit. What science-backed strategies can you actually use to build confidence?
Right, let's get practical. The material offers a really solid set of evidence-based strategies. First up, start small and stack wins.
Start small, stack wins. I like that. Very actionable.
It's all about setting goals that are genuinely achievable, even tiny ones.
Yeah.
Each time you tick one off, you get that little confidence boost, that dopamine hit we talked about. It builds momentum. You're creating those mastery experiences Bandura mentioned, just on a small, consistent scale.
It's about consistency, not necessarily huge leaps. The sources even suggest, like, listing 3 small things you can definitely do today.
Exactly. Just the act of writing them down, doing them, and acknowledging, I did that, it starts to shift your mindset. Maybe think right now, what's one tiny step you could take towards a bigger goal? Just doing that can be powerful.
Okay, doing that now. Right. Strategy 2.
Second is to actively reframe failure. Consciously change how you think about setbacks.
So not seeing them as the end of the world or proof you're useless.
Exactly. Try to see them as learning opportunities. What data did this give you? What can you adjust next time? A 2022 study showed this reframing reduces self-criticism, boosts resilience. You're turning a negative into fuel.
Okay, but how do you do that when you feel rubbish after messing up?
One practical tip from the sources.
Yeah.
After a setback, actually write down one lesson you learned. Just one. And one specific step you can take moving forward because of it.
Ah, okay. Keeps you focused on learning and action, not just wallowing.
Precisely. Keeps you moving. Okay, tool number 3.
What's next?
Harness your body. This brings us back to power posing, Amy Cuddy's work.
Power posing, standing tall, hands on hips, that kind of thing?
That's the idea. Now, the original claims about hormones, like testosterone going up and cortisol going down, are still debated in the research.
Ah, okay.
But a 2023 meta-analysis looking across many studies published in Body Image found that adopting these upright, expansive postures does reliably increase people's self-reported feelings of confidence.
So even if the hormone link is complex, the act itself makes you feel more confident.
It seems so. It's like physically embodying confidence can influence your mental state. The suggestion is simple. Try standing tall for maybe 2 minutes before you walk into a challenging situation. A quick power pose break.
Worth a try. Okay, strategy 4.
Number 4, visualize success. Mental rehearsal.
Okay, picturing yourself succeeding.
Exactly. And the science here, like a 2018 study in Frontiers in Psychology, suggests that vividly imagining yourself performing well activates similar neural pathways to actually doing it.
Like a workout for your brain's confidence circuits.
Kinda, yeah. A mental workout for self-efficacy.
How do you do it effectively? Just daydreaming.
Needs to be a bit more focused. The sources suggest taking 5 minutes, really vividly imagining the successful scenario. Engage your senses. What do you see, hear, feel physically? What emotions come up, making a rich, detailed mental movie.
Okay, creating a mental blueprint for success. Got it. Strategy 5.
Number 5, curate your circle. Be intentional about who you spend time with.
The influence of the people around us.
It's huge. Surround yourself with supportive people, people who genuinely believe in you, who lift you up. A 2020 study in Social Psychology Quarterly showed positive feedback from peers really does boost confidence.
Makes sense. So choose your cheerleaders wisely.
Basically, yes. Think about who energizes you versus who drains you. The suggestion, maybe reach out to someone who you know believes in you. Ask for their perspective. Getting that external validation from a trusted source can be really grounding.
Good one. Okay, number 6.
Number 6, tame the inner critic. We've got to address that negative voice inside.
That voice. It can be so loud sometimes.
It really can. The material mentions cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, principles here, learning to identify those negative thoughts and actively challenge them.
How does challenging them help?
Well, a 2019 study showed that questioning those negative thoughts, looking for actual evidence against them, builds confidence. You're basically fighting back with facts instead of just accepting the criticism.
Okay, fighting back with facts. How do you start?
A simple exercise suggested is to just list 3 recent accomplishments. Doesn't matter how small. Keep an evidence locker to remind yourself of what you can do when that critic starts piping up.
I like that. Evidence locker. Okay, strategy 7.
7 is
Yeah.
act as if. Behave confidently even when you don't feel it.
The old fake it till you make it. Does that actually work?
There seems to be something to it. A 2021 study indicated that acting assertively, speaking clearly, making eye contact, taking up a bit more space, can actually increase your own perception of your confidence.
So the outward action can influence the inner feeling over time.
It seems it can. It's like you're signaling to your own brain, hey, I'm acting confidently, maybe I am confident. The suggestion is to pick your next interaction, a meeting, a call, and consciously practice projecting confidence in your posture and voice.
Okay, act the part to become the part. And the final one, number 8.
Number 8, train your brain with mindfulness and meditation.
Mindfulness comes up again. How does it help confidence specifically?
It helps regulate emotions,
Yeah.
especially by calming down that amygdala, the fear center we talked about.
Right, less reactivity.
Exactly. A 2023 study linked mindfulness practice to increased confidence. It helps you become more aware of your thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them. You create a bit of space, a sense of calm.
So you're less likely to be derailed by self-doubt when it pops up. The suggestion is maybe a short daily practice, like 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. A small investment, potentially big returns for emotional balance and confidence.
Wow. Okay, that is a seriously comprehensive toolkit, all backed by science.
It really is. And the material just briefly notes how all this ties into real-world outcomes impacting your work, your relationships, even your physical health. Confidence matters.
Totally. All right, so you've just heard this fantastic set of tools, all grounded in the science of confidence. But please remember, you don't need to rush out and try all 8 things tomorrow.
Absolutely not. That would be overwhelming. The best way is probably just pick one strategy that really resonated with you as you were listening.
Yeah, just one that feels doable or maybe addresses something you struggle with.
And just start there. Try incorporating that one thing. Because taking that first step, that small action, that can be enough to just reignite something, get a little momentum going.
It's true. We often wait to feel motivated before we act, but sometimes you just have to act first, and the motivation kind of catches up, doesn't it?
It really does. Action often precedes motivation. And as you practice, as you push through, even when it feels a bit uncomfortable, you're building that resilience we talked about. You're cultivating grit. And you're developing that genuine earned confidence in your own ability to figure things out and reach your goals.
Think about people you admire. People who've achieved cool things.
Yeah.
Their journeys probably weren't smooth sailing. They definitely hit bumps, felt doubt, but they kept going.
They persisted. And honestly, often the only difference between you and someone you look up to is time and that persistence, consistent effort.
So keep at it. Keep practicing these things. Keep learning. Keep fanning those flames of self-belief.
Nurture that confidence muscle.
You absolutely have the capacity. You've got this. You really have.
Confidence. Mindset shift building. Confidence starts with changing how you think about your English. Here's how to make that shift. See English as a tool, not a test. It's not about proving how good you are. It's about connecting with people and sharing ideas. Embrace the learning process. Every expert was once a beginner. Every mistake is actually progress. It means you're pushing your limits. Focus on what you can say, not what you can't. Even with limited vocabulary, you can communicate effectively. Practical confidence builders. Let's talk about specific techniques you can use starting today. The power of preparation. Create a confidence bank of phrases you can use in common situations. Practice. Introducing yourself until it feels automatic. Prepare answers to frequently asked questions about your work or hobbies. The 3-second response rule. When someone asks you a question in English, make yourself respond within 3 seconds. This prevents overthinking and builds quick thinking skills. Body language for confidence. Maintain good posture. It actually changes how you feel. Make appropriate eye contact. Use hand gestures naturally. Smile. It relaxes you and the person you're speaking with. Daily habits for steady improvement. Confidence grows with consistent practice. Here are effective daily exercises. Morning. English routine. Spend 5 minutes speaking out loud about your plans for the day. Read a short article or social media post in English. Listen to an English podcast while getting ready. Evening reflection. Note. Down one successful English interaction from your day. Identify one area for improvement. Plan how you'll use English tomorrow. Weekly challenges. Have one longer conversation in English. Each week, learn and practice 5 new useful phrases. Watch a short video and summarize it out loud. Overcoming specific fear situations. Let's address some common fear scenarios and how to handle them. Phone conversations. Prepare key phrases beforehand. Have a notebook handy for important information. Don't be afraid to ask the person to slow down group discussions. Prepare 1 or 2 points you want to make. Use simple phrases to enter the conversation. That's interesting. Focus on listening when you're not speaking. Presentations. Practice multiple times out loud. Use visual aids to support your message. Remember that your audience wants you to succeed. Advanced confidence techniques. Once you've built basic confidence, try these powerful methods. Recording yourself. Audio record your practice sessions. Video record short presentations. Analyze your strengths and areas to improve. Thought shadowing. Think in English during daily activities. Mentally describe what you're doing. Have imaginary conversations in your head. Expanding comfort zone. Gradually take on more challenging situations. Join an English conversation group. Volunteer to speak in low-pressure environments. Maintaining long-term confidence building. Confidence is one thing, keeping it is another. Here's how to sustain your progress. Track your progress. Keep a journal of successful interactions. Note new words and phrases you've used. Celebrate milestones. First full conversation, first presentation, etc. Build a support system. Find a language partner. Join a learning community. Surround yourself with encouraging people. Continuous learning. Always be adding to your vocabulary. Work on pronunciation of difficult sounds. Learn idioms and natural expressions. Big picture. English as part of your life. Ultimately, confident English speaking comes from making the language a natural part of your daily life. It's not about special talent or being good at languages. It's about consistent practice and the right mindset. Remember that every confident English speaker you admire was once where you are now. They didn't start out confident. They became confident through practice and persistence. And you can too. Final challenge, your confidence action plan. Here's what I want you to do right now. Identify one situation where you lack confidence. Choose. One technique from this guide to try commit to using it within the next 24 hours. Afterwards, reflect on what went well. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you build through action. So, take that first step today and keep moving forward one conversation at a time. Conclusion: your English confidence journey. As we finish, I want you to remember this. Your ability to speak English confidently isn't determined by where you start, but by your willingness to keep going. Every conversation is practice. Every interaction is progress. And every time you push past your comfort zone, you're becoming the confident English speaker you want to be. The world needs to hear what you have to say, in English and with confidence. So take these strategies, put them into practice, and watch as your fear transforms into fluency. Your confident English future starts now.